Hey, what's up? It's Symphony here. Subscribe to my brother Mr. Creepy as Hell channel, and when you're watching his videos, make sure you stay in one piece.
Listen to me good. If you ever want to get a roommate, make sure it's someone that you know. Someone that you know really well, because if you get someone as a roommate that you really don't know, there's no telling what kind of person your roommate may be. And that itself is frightening. That's something I had to learn, and something that I'm still coping with from the traumatic experience that I had to deal with because of this roommate. So this happened about 8 months ago. My friends and I decided to move out of our college dorms and rent a house. The house that we rented cost about $12,000 in rent money, but that wasn't a problem. Each of us was making good money at our jobs, so we split the rent money and each of us paid $4,000 in rent money. That was going well until both of my friends decided to move separately, and that kind of put me in a really tricky spot financially. It's not that I couldn't afford to pay $12,000 a month for rent, but at the same time, I did have a lot of bills I had to pay and other expenses, and so even if I did, it would make my money a little bit more tighter than what I wanted to be. So that's when I put up an ad online to ask anyone if they needed a place to stay, that they can come by my place and I interview them to see if they're a right candidate to be a roommate of mine. And for a while, I didn't get anybody responding to my advertisement. That was until someone by the name of Ashley took my offer. I was caught off guard. The fact that it was a woman that didn't mind becoming my roommate, a man. I figured that by her being a woman, she would feel more comfortable with a female roommate and not a male roommate, considering that she doesn't really know me and what type of person I really am. Even though I'm not like those type of men, but still, I figured that she would be very careful and not rent out a room from a man. But I ignored it, and I called her up and I asked her about was she interested in becoming my roommate. After a while talking on the phone, we decided to meet up the next day. When I met up with her, she was a really nice woman. She seemed like she had her head on straight. She had life goals and ambition. She was going off to school, and she seemed like she would be a perfect fit. And it seemed like she was very comfortable with me. I was surprised. So eventually, I took her up on her offer and she became my roommate. I didn't think nothing of it. The only thing I find weird was each time I would ask her where she works at, she would never tell me. She would usually just say, "Oh, don't worry about it. As long as you get the rent money, it's not important about where I work at." At the time, I figured maybe I shouldn't worry about it, because she's right. As long as she gives me the rent money on time, that's all that matters. I really didn't care where she got her money at, or how did she get her money. But I come to realize that would be a huge mistake, not questioning her where she gets her money at. And I would come to find a very disgusting and horrifying secret that Ashley kept from me. Something that will make me repulse and never ever have another roommate as long as I live. It started off as any other day. A couple of months later, as Ashley settled in becoming my roommate, I noticed every time I passed by her room, I would smell something that was so horrible. Every time I passed by her room, it would always smell like rotting meat or wet dog, or it had a very moldy smell to it. I couldn't really pinpoint what it actually smelled like, but it made me nauseous each time I passed by her room. I didn't say nothing to her at first. I figured that there must have been a logical reason why her room smelled like that, and I let it alone. But a few days later, the smell got much worse, and it was starting to seep into my room. No matter how much I sprayed in my room, no matter how much automatic sprays I would buy, it did no good. And it got to the point that I started to get a little bit furious, and so I decided to confront Ashley about the smell. I went towards her room and I knocked on her door. "Yeah, what's up?" she asked me, and as she opened the door, the smell was immensely so strong that I almost had to cover up my mouth just to keep myself from vomiting. I asked her, Hey Ashley, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm just noticing there's a really strong smell that's coming in my room, and I think it's coming from your room. I'm not trying to come off as mean or anything, but do you think you can take care of it, because it's really making me sick to my stomach and I can't handle it. Oh, my apologies. I didn't realize I was bringing home an odor. It's part of my job. I'm so sorry. I take care of it immediately. I make sure I wash my clothes immediately and spray down the room. I'm so terribly sorry. That's so wrong of me to do that. I wouldn't want no one doing that to me. I'm so sorry. I take care of it immediately. Yeah, it's all good. I understand. Thank you for being understanding. I appreciate it. After I got done talking to her, I went back into my room. I was surprised that she was very understanding, but at the same time I was curious and wanted to know what type of job she does where she comes back smelling like rotten meat. I paid it no mind because I figured that the smell would be gone and she'll take care of it. But the next day and a half, the smell still lingered, and it actually got even more stronger. I was more upset, and I didn't like the fact that she promised me that she was going to get rid of the smell, but she never did. When she was off at work, I decided that I was going to investigate, but then again, I wanted to be careful because by her being a woman, I figured that she wouldn't feel comfortable with a man going inside of her room. So I decided to call up one of my female friends to have them to go inside of her room. It wouldn't be as bad as me as a man going in her room, but I had to have this taken care of because I wanted to know what was causing that smell and what was going on. So my friend came in. Her name was Sarah, and she went inside Ashley's room to see what that horrific smell was coming from. She wasn't even in Ashley's room for a minute before she ran out of her room, covering her hands. I could see liquid coming out of her hands, indicating that she was trying to vomit. She ran inside the bathroom, closed the door, and began to hurl in the bathroom. I was wondering what was going on and why she was getting sick. Did she find the source of the smell? Then, after a few minutes, my friend Sarah came out of the bathroom and she told me, "You need to call the police right now. Your roommate is so fucking disgusting." Police for what? What's going on? Sarah, talk to me. What did you see in there? I demanded Sarah. I decided to walk inside of Ashley's room to see what Sarah saw. And when I went into her closet, with it being open, I saw what she saw. And I had to run out and vomit in the bathroom as well. What I saw in Ashley's room was guts and liver inside of a clear plastic bag with a bunch of hearts. It had a horrific smell. There was blood stains all over the carpet, blood all over the closet door. It was so disgusting. Not only that, but I also saw a bunch of maggots crawling around in her room. I had to call the police immediately. Once the police came, they investigated Ashley's room, and they come to find out that not only was she collecting those, but they found a plate and knives and forks in there, meaning that she was most likely eating them. When they told me this, I almost wanted to vomit again. Sarah almost wanted to vomit again. And while the officers were there, that's when Ashley came in. She looked at the officers, and she looked at me, and she looked at my friend Sarah, and she automatically knew by the look on her face that she was caught in the act. The officers arrested her. She didn't put up much of a fight anyway, because she knew that she was in the wrong. After that, I had to leave my house for a couple of days until everything was alright. When I was able to come back to my house, I had to do a deep cleaning inside the room Ashley stayed in. But it didn't matter what I do, that smell would just linger. It took a year and a half for that smell to go away. And when it finally did, I just decided to never get another roommate again.